Thousands of WoW players are getting ready to do the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Attempt Burning Crusade on Hardcore. A challenge so brutal that Blizzard flat out refuses to make official servers for it, and many players agree.
I don't think Hardcore is TBC viable.
I agree with you. I think people saying that are not thinking about it enough.
But for others, they've thought about it plenty, and to them it seems like the logical next step.
Only things will not happen until we get a TBC Hardcore server or a Classic Plus server.
We find ourselves in a familiar story. The WoW community wants something, and Blizzard says,
"You don't want to do that.
And just like before, the community is responding by making it for themselves, with a Burning Crusade Hardcore add-on that'll be ready for pre-patch. But what if this time's different? What if Blizzard's actually right, and TBC Hardcore is a challenge that we think we want, but actually don't? And on the surface, the skeptics have a point. Heroic dungeons designed to wipe your group, raids with one-shot mechanics that randomly delete people, a soul-crushing grind back to 70. Why would anyone do this? Is this even possible? Well, I've spent the last 8 months obsessed with these questions, and in this video, we're diving into what might be the most brutal experiment ever attempted in WoW history. Blizzard's official statement is Burning Crusade is too difficult for Hardcore. But is it really? It all boils down to 3 major obstacles, and we're gonna go over each one. Let's start with the biggest roadblock for most people, the leveling. And you know what? Let's just put the numbers on the screen. So, Classic 1 to 60 takes about 5 million experience, and Burning Crusade 1 to 70 is over 10 million. It's double the total experience required. But here's the thing that's gonna blow your mind. Leveling 1 to 70 in TBC is actually faster than leveling 1 to 60 in Classic. TBC is running on the patch 2.3 changes, which streamlines 1 to 60 and reduces the EXP that you need by a lot. And the end result is that you're able to skip over a lot of the worst parts of leveling. But I can already hear you thinking, okay, it's faster, but doesn't that defeat the purpose of Hardcore if they just lower the difficulty? And to that, I have 2 points. First, let's be blunt. The challenge in Hardcore has always been optional. You were never in any real danger that you didn't volunteer to be in.
Yeah, I'm just gonna run out.
No fucking way.
There was never anything inherently hard about getting to level 60. I mean, you can equip a full set of auction house gear and get all the way there with nothing but gray quests and green mobs without ever dropping below 50% health. Would it be boring? Absolutely. But that's the whole point. You as the player get to choose how easy or difficult you want it to be. And guess what? In TBC, you can still make those choices. You can impose any psycho challenge you want on yourself. You can do a red quest only run, or turn off your health bars and pretend you have advanced glaucoma, whatever floats your boat. And that brings me to point 2, which is that Outland is freaking scary even without any of that. The mobs hit harder and the quests often push you into risky situations. I guarantee you people are going to be dying in droves because we've never approached the leveling in Outland from a hardcore lens before. So not everyone knows what's safe and what's secretly really dangerous. But you can if you pick up the RXP TBC Hardcore add-on. I'll have a link below where you can get a discount as soon as it's available. Overall, the leveling isn't any worse than it already is in Classic, and in many ways, it seems better. It doesn't take any longer to get to max level, and having a fresh new world of dangerous quests to cut our teeth on, it's pretty exciting. But that's just the tutorial. Now we get to the real prime rib of the TBC experience, gearing and heroics. The second you ding 70, this game hands you an entire CVS receipt of chores. I mean, just look at this thing. And first up is you gotta replace that crappy green and purple clown suit you found while you were leveling. You also need multiple max professions, plus you need 1,000 gold just for the privilege of flying at the speed of a wet fart. But let's be real. The Priebus grind is the best part of the game. This is that good shit. It's the part of the journey before you hit raid log status where you can still log in every day and actually have something meaningful to do. The problem is, this entire Priebus adventure is just a long, slow walk to your execution.
Heroic dungeons.
These things are no fucking joke, man. DPS pulled aggro for 0.3 seconds? Dead. Missed an important interrupt? Super dead. This isn't vanilla hardcore where you and your buddies can play like a pack of brain-dead chimps and just whoopsie doodle your way back to town with a couple of Petries. Nah, you're locked into a 60-minute long anxiety attack. The margin for error is microscopic, and the consequences are swift. See, Petri still exists, but it got nerfed pretty significantly. It only makes you immune to physical attacks, not magic. So if that pack of mobs you just ninja pulled starts casting fireballs at your petrified ass, you're still gonna get incinerated. So you have to play smart when making a group composition. This isn't that bring the player, not the class, friendship is magic bullshit. This is the Burning Crusade. You bring a good comp or you're gonna have problems. Look, I know people have traumatic, pants-shitting memories of wiping in these places for 4 hours straight, but you gotta remember who you were running with at the time. You were just scraping the bottom of the trade chat barrel, cobbling together whatever group of weirdos replied to your LFM messages first. Your tank was probably a paladin in PvP gear, your healer was some shadow priest who just respect 5 minutes ago, and you had one of these 50,000 useless rogues begging for an invite because nobody else on the planet wants to play with them. And these people definitely weren't showing up flasked up with elixirs and potions and drums and shit. Half the time your priest didn't even bring candles. You and your little band, the Trade Chat Misfits, were not playing like your life was on the line.
Sorry guys, I am not almost sober smile.
But if people actually prepare, bring a smart comp, and play like they're one mistake away from death, you might be surprised how doable this shit actually is. Let's take a look at what many consider to be the hardest dungeon, Heroic Blood Furnace, a certified wipe fest. Right when you zone in, you got these adept guys who thrash. Just one of these bad boys can hit your tank for like 10k instantly. And if he's not crit immune, he's toast. So what do? You fucking CC one, because you brought CC, right? Then you got these engineers who drop landmines that do an absurd amount of fire damage. 2 of these go off and your mage just evaporates. But guess what? These Giga Fire Protection Potions exist. Everyone just chugs one before the pool as an insurance policy, and bada bing, bada boom, and the bombs do 0 damage. Throw in a fire resist totem and you're golden. You could even use a target dummy to murder your friends from a distance. Then there's that long-ass gauntlet with the nascent Fel Orcs designed to your healer. But this is where you can use that Petri Flask, not to escape, but as a little intermission to give your priest a chance to regen some mana. The point is, all this scary sounding shit isn't an impossible wall, it's just a set of problems waiting to be solved. Look, people said the same thing years ago about vanilla hardcore. Like, oh, it's gonna be impossible to make a 40-man raid, everyone will die in the dungeons. And look how that turned out. We're doing Nax with no world buffs just to feel something. I think this stuff just looks way scarier than it actually is. Once people take it seriously and start looking for solutions, it becomes doable. TBC raids are objectively, scientifically, in every way that's measurable, way more demanding than anything in Classic. It's not even a debate. People have to actually play their class correctly. This isn't a 40-man where half the raid can be asleep at the wheel, drooling on their keyboard, and you still somehow stumble ass backwards into killing Ragnaros. No, in TBC, there is way more personal responsibility. We're talking about mechanics where if that one absolute goober in your raid isn't doing the one simple thing he's supposed to do that week, your entire raid gets obliterated. End of story. This environment means that raid comps are extremely strict. I'm pretty sure if you don't have at least 4 shamans, you just don't get the raid that week. Also, boss damage can be spiky and inconsistent, and feels almost unfair to try to heal through. Then there's Leo and SSC, who forces 5 random people in the raid to go on a personal growth journey mid-fight. If that mechanic hits all 5 of your healers, well then it's probably a good time to start considering alternative strategies. But look, while this is all legitimately concerning, I need to remind you of the early days of Classic Hardcore. People looked at Molten Core, the easiest, most brain-dead raid ever conceived, and they were like, oh my god, it's impossible! They'll never do it. Fast forward a few years and we've dumpstered everything. I mean, we went from can we do it to can we do it blindfolded with a steering wheel controller? But I get it. TBC has mechanics that are just pure bullshit. Fights that literally kill you with no counterplay. Specifically, Asgalore in Hyjal and Terran Gorefiend in Black Temple. These bosses randomly select a few people in your raid who just get to die that week. And there's nothing you can do. I am 100% certain that if official servers ever dropped, that would be one of the first things they removed. But you gotta keep in mind, it's not 2007 anymore. The collective consciousness of gamers has evolved a bit. The gameplay in TBC might be more complex than Classic, which to be fair, my blender has a more complex rotation than most classes in Classic. But TBC is still very simple compared to modern retail standards. Is it difficult to pull off Karazhan and SSC perfectly? Sure. But jingle a bunch of world firsts in front of WoW's sweatiest gamers and they'll figure out how to get it done. So I guess in summary, what I mean is that if there's anything we've learned over the years, it's that difficult does not mean impossible. Unless we're talking about Sunwell. And to that I say, let's just cross that bridge when we get there. So we've spent this video asking if TBC Hardcore is viable, but maybe that's the wrong question. The real question isn't can we do it, it's why would we try? See, what makes hardcore special, at least to me, isn't its difficulty. It's that it pulls you into the present moment. The fear of losing everything, the panic you feel when a bad pull goes sideways, it demands your attention. It brings you right here. Vanilla Hardcore gave us that for a while. It forced us to slow down and made us feel like noobs again. But we solved that puzzle. We've figured it out and optimized it. But once a path is known, the thrill fades, and what once felt like a terrifying risk becomes routine. That's because our brains have this deep fundamental need for novelty. So TBC comes along and gives us this brand new puzzle, and we don't even know if the pieces fit together. And it's in this chaos of uncertainty that lies the potential for discovery. See, this isn't about nostalgia. We're not chasing the past. If anything, we're chasing the present. We're actively choosing an experience that yanks our brains deeply into the moment, while we're still lucky enough to have moments to live. And that, my friends, is a journey worth risking everything for. I'll see you in Outland.